This is Part 2, Episode 100. The whole body of the Dacheng holy body is full of light, and the strands of light radiating from it fill the sky and the earth, and many mountains are collapsing. 9m8. Except for the area protected by the ancient emperor's array pattern, other places have almost become deserts, and some black mountains have become dust. This is an unparalleled, terrifying holy power, and almost no one in the world can compete against it. It is not a deliberate attack, but only part of the divine power released by the natural force. Yi Fan was shocked. If he could take over this body, who would he be afraid of in this world? Don't be afraid even if you are facing the peerless masters, who came out of the ancient palace of the ancient killer of the gods. He was deeply shocked. This was just part of the divine power left over from the great completion holy body. If it was at its peak, how terrifying would it be? I'm afraid. You can really destroy this big world with your bare hands. Yi Fan did some careful exploration, and completely imprinted the flawless auxiliary secret technique, and his heart was surging. This would be a powerful reliance for him to enter the supreme realm in the future. With a wave of his hand, he took out the golden ancient staff from the sarcophagus, and his divine power was surging. He felt that he could pick the stars and take the moon. At this time, he stayed in the sacrament of great completion, almost thinking that it was his fleshy body, like an arm and a finger, without any sense of stagnation, just following his heart's desire. If I can take it away, I'll go straight to pacify the world and hell. Yi Fan was very excited. Even though the dead body of the great completion holy body could not be compared with its heyday, it still had enough combat power, which was immeasurable. At this time, he was holding a golden scepter, possessing the combat power to look down on the world covering the sky, and with a murderous aura, he felt that he could completely wipe out this holy cliff. Heavenly Court's supreme scepter, cold and persecuting, has been stained with the blood of thousands of living beings. Suddenly, Yi Fan was squeezed out of the corpse by a strange force, and the supreme killer scepter fell to the ground with a crisp sound. Qinglian wrapped his spiritual sense, and returned to his body in an instant. He was guarded by the old madman, in a light curtain, and confronted the holy body of Dacheng. The corpse of the holy body of Dacheng is too terrifying, and must be taken away. Its combat power is enough to scare the world, it is comparable to a supreme holy soldier. Li Heishui shouted. Although his body is covered with corpse hair, it doesn't matter, this is an invincible humanoid weapon. The big black dog couldn't sit still. It's a pity that Yi Fan was forced out after all, and he couldn't control it. And the old madman frowned and said, "Don't touch him, there is something ominous in his body." At this moment, the divine power of Dacheng's sacred body was restrained, his eyes turned green, and the corpse hairs all over his body were growing wildly, making him even more frightening. "My descendants," he suddenly opened his mouth and made such a voice, sonorous and powerful like a stone rubbing against a rubble. His eyes were blazing, staring at Yi Fan, and he said, "Take me away." "You?" Yi Fan was shocked. Xiao Nan Nan was extremely nervous, and pulled at the corner of Yi Fan's clothes and said in a trembling voice, "There is a ghost in his body. You are my descendant, help me resurrect, take me away." The voice is long and distant, as if it came from ancient times, with an irresistible magic. Yi Fan snorted coldly. He came from the other side of the starry sky, and had no blood relationship with the holy body before this world was desolate. His eyes were cold at that time. The old madman uttered a heavenly sound, shaking the entire sacred cliff, and said, "If you want to make a move, come here." He took a few big steps forward. Humph! The holy body of Dacheng snorted coldly, the corpse hair all over his body became thicker and denser, almost drowning him, and the strange power became stronger and stronger. His murderous intention was revealed, and he walked forward step by step, and then suddenly stretched out his big hand and grabbed the old madman, trying to beat him into meat sauce. This is the unparalleled sacrament of completion, whether he is alive or dead, no one can damage his fleshly body, it can be said to be extremely terrifying. The old madman gave a light snort, raised his hand and formed a perfect Tao map, and printed it forward, to seal the body of Dacheng's holy body. Boom! At the same time, the holy cliff trembled, and the golden light of the conferred gods list on the mountainside burst out with a blast of destructive energy, which enveloped the sky at once. Boom! A large golden hand covered it, and the corpse of the Dacheng holy body had to contend with all its strength. Fengshenbang not only exists in the belly of the suppression mountain, but also suppresses this corpse. Li Heishui was shocked. Wrong, it must be the existence in the belly of the mountain, who got into the corpse of the Eucharist and triggered the list of gods, Yi Fan speculated. Boom. There was a loud bang, and the big golden hand shook the corpse of the holy body of Dacheng back out, and then pressed it down again. The big black dog was so excited that it couldn't be more excited, and trembled. Have you seen it? The Fengshen Bang is sealed here, which is equivalent to a hand of the great Emperor Wu Bei pressing here. The Dacheng holy body, which was covered in corpse hair, roared loudly, and many mountains in the distance crumbled. Even the black mountains were cracked. He raised his hand to hit the sky, shaking the sky and the earth. However, the big golden hand formed by the Fengshen Bang was equally terrifying, and it shot down with an irresistible force, covering the entire holy cliff. Boom. The holy body of Dacheng was shaken back, and the big golden hand was crushed down, destroying everything. Even the body of the holy body of Dacheng could only retreat and avoid its edge. How could this be? Yes, it must be that Dacheng's body has dried up, and there is not much divine power. Yi Fan comforted himself. After all, that was his ultimate goal. Don't be discouraged, kid. The flesh and body of the holy body of great accomplishment is unparalleled in the world, but the conferred god list was refined by the great Emperor Wu Bei. He Huang said. Boom. The big golden hand shook the corpse of the Dacheng holy body and fell into the ancient coffin, and then sealed the coffin lid on it with a loud bang. This, Li Heishui was surprised and said, is it really equivalent to pressing down on a hand of the great Emperor Wu Shi? The great Emperor Wu Shi's hand is on the mountainside. This is just an evolved part, said the big black dog. Is the fleshly body of the great Emperor Wu Shi more tyrannical than the holy body of Dacheng? Yi Fan frowned. The beginning great emperor's flesh body has all the advantages of the holy body. This is equivalent to the collision of two holy body, but one has become the great emperor. The big black dog said an astonishing piece of news. Then, it added, Emperor of ancient times, everyone is incomparably powerful, who reigns over the world covering the sky, all of them are invincible and lonely people. Not to mention their previous physiques, just talking about the emperor's body, you can smash everything. Peace was restored on the holy cliff, the golden hands formed by the conferred gods list disappeared, and everything returned to peace. 9 secrets of words and the Holy Master of Heaven are also sealed in the ancient coffin. The big black dog muttered, it only remembered 4 Taoist maps, and was a little unwilling. Leave it for the next person who is destined. The old madman said. Yi Fan walked over, endured the terrifying torture that his mind was about to burst, and sealed the golden scepter. This is the symbol of the ancient court of the killer god. In addition, this is also a martial artifact, an extremely terrifying secret treasure, which can exert any kind of power in any realm. This is a weapon refined by the ancient saints. In order to strengthen the inheritance of the heavenly court, it has the effect of self-seal. If it does not reach the realm of saints, it will never be able to exert its full power. Big black dog Liu Water wanted to jump up several times, trying to rob Yi Fan. Damn, this dead dog of the highest quality, even wants to snatch the things of acquaintances. Li Heishui and Yi Fan wanted to beat it violently. Xiao Nan Nan patted it lightly and said, the dog must be good. When the big black dog heard this, he almost fell to the ground. If it were anyone else, it would have rushed up to bite. But in the face of Xiao Nan Nan, it can only restrain resentfully. Baring his teeth, I'm sorry to make a wrong idea again. They didn't stop much, and walked down the mountain along the original road, preparing to leave the sacred cliff, which is by no means a good place. If you stay for a long time, there may be troubles. Suddenly, when he was halfway up the mountain, he saw a person in the distance, blocking his way. The Taoist robe on his body is quite old, and it is very different from what the world has seen. I don't know what age it is full of traces of time. The little fur left on the big black dog's head stood upside down at that time, gritted his teeth and said, damn, I met a super big one, this is the costume of hundreds of thousands of years ago. Could it be another ancient corpse? Li Heishui whispered. He's not a corpse. The old madman walked at the forefront, and Liu stared at the old man with an extremely solemn expression. That old road is like a living fossil, walking slowly up the mountain along the mountain road. Everywhere is ancient, and he is very old. The purple gold crown on his head was dull and almost rotten, and the Taoist robe on his body would turn into flying ashes at any time. A few benefactors, can you help Pindao? I would like to give you 2 kinds of unparalleled sacred arts in the 9 secrets. When this old man came up and opened his mouth like this, a few people were startled and dumbfounded. Ju Mi took out 2 kinds at once, What is his origin? Who are you? Xiao Nan Nan asked in a soft and tender voice, like a curious baby. On the other side, the old madman became more and more dignified. His aura was like a mountain, and the whole person turned into an ancient picture, no longer a human body. It is conceivable how much he attaches importance to it, as if facing a great enemy. Making a saint like this is enough to illustrate the horror of Lao Dao. Pindao has forgotten the past, because the real me has long since perished, and no one can compete with the years. Lao Dao's words are very peaceful, and the ancient atmosphere is permeating. He must be the supreme being in the mountainside, the one who was suppressed by the gods and gods. The big black dog shivered and showed extreme fear. If this is the case, it will be a catastrophe. In the past, the people whom the great Emperor Wuxia personally fought against were finally suppressed by the conferred gods list. If they hadn't died, just thinking about them would make one's scalp numb. My flesh has long since returned to the Lurs, and I only remember that others call me immortal. The old man continued to speak. Immortal Daoist, I am afraid it is the supreme being from the undying mountain. Yi Fan's heart sank. The holy cliff was cut from the undying mountain. The old madman turned into a flawless ancient picture, evoking the Tao of the heavens, evolving the supreme Tao fruit, and permeating the eternal energy, as if it had always been the case. Pindao only left 6 primordial spirits, buried in Xianyuan, but he wanted to go out, but he had a wish, and there was no malice. The old Daoist looked calm. It's been so many years, even though the flesh has turned into ashes, but he still left the primordial spirit. Just thinking about it makes people feel terrified. 6 months passed in a blink of an eye, the last 2 days have passed, and the chasing behind is so fierce. I sincerely ask the last monthly vote to vote for support. Before the ancient times, there were 9 divinations, and Emperor Kai Shi once personally suppressed it. After hundreds of thousands of years, there is still a ray of primordial spirit buried in Xianyuan and survived. 98. This is an incredible existence, worthy of fighting against the ancient emperor. Yi Fan, Li Heishui, and He Huang are all trembling, full of fear, and bursts of collapse. The old Tao is very peaceful, his clothes are old and his robes are about to rot. The birth of any of the 9 secrets will make the world go crazy for it. It contains supreme truth. The 2 I have mastered can be passed on to you without reservation. Lao Dao's words have to make people excited. It is a secret technique handed down from ancient times. Don't just master 1 or 2 of them, you can look down on the world. The 9 secrets represent the pinnacle of the 9 fields, and cannot be surpassed. It was originally a book together, but unfortunately it was split. Since then, it has been scattered all over the world, and can no longer be unified. Over the years, several species have completely disappeared from the world. This is a great regret of the unparalleled masters of all dynasties. Even if you can rule the world, you will not be able to see the flawless 9 secrets, and if you lose it, it will be hard to find. At this time, 2 of the 9 secrets were about to appear, and no one could calm down, but Yi Fan and the others did not believe this old Taoist. The unparalleled masters that the great Emperor Wuxia personally suppressed were definitely not good people. How could he possibly pass on such supreme secret techniques to them? The undead Taoist, whose name has almost explained everything, is likely to be the supreme being from the undead mountain, and most of them are not human races. Before the ancient times, the undead mountain was dark and turbulent, and I don't know how many outstanding people were killed and injured. Don't you believe me? The undead Taoist saw that they were silent, and walked forward step by step along the mountain road, continuing to walk. The old madman's body has long since disappeared, and there is only an ancient picture in place, full of innate patterns, and a voice said, "If you want to fight, let's take action." Pindao has never had the intention of taking action. He sincerely agrees, and wants to pass down the supreme immortal art of the human race, so that the 9 secrets will not be lost. Lao Dao shook his head. This is a character who can compete with the ancient emperor. Most of his physical body has been wiped out by the conferred god list, but a ray of primordial spirit has survived with the help of Xianyuan, which is extremely terrifying. Beginning. A strange light flashed in the eyes of the old immortal. The big black dog pondered for a long time, as if he remembered something. To several people, he said, "Be careful, he may really have the 9 secrets." The ancient map that the old madman turned into suddenly shook and made a sonorous sound, like a peerless divine soldier in the dragon's roar, wiping out an invisible wisp of killing light. "You still can't hold back anymore," the old lunatic said solemnly. "That's not my killing intent. it's a wisp of murderous intent overflowing from the destroyed body in the mountainside. The undead Taoist spoke peacefully. Then, he stepped up step by step, the mountain road blurred under his feet, and climbed up. Cut into the free world, do you want to turn us all into nothingness? The old madman Gujing had no waves, turned into a Dao fruit and slowly rotated, sweeping out a chaotic light. He seemed to be the pinnacle of opening up the world, dissolving in inexplicable force, making the Daoist undead look stiff. He may really be the supreme being who has 9 secrets. The big black dog bared his teeth and stepped back, feeling that something was wrong. I didn't expect that the world has changed and there is still an existence like you. The undead Taoist finally stopped pretending, and his expression became cold. When he said this, several people were all terrified, and the mask was lifted, which meant that this mysterious old man was about to take action and no longer hide his clumsiness. He shouldn't be able to exert his full strength. After so many years of struggle, it is estimated that he can only overflow with such a ray of primordial spirit. The big black dog barked. Humph! The immortal Taoist is no longer peaceful, and a cold snort is issued, and countless divine soldiers have been chopped down between heaven and earth, and the world will be slashed with murderous intent. The ancient picture that the old madman turned into rotates, sealing the world, blocking the sound of killing from the sky, and cannot rush in. Sure enough, the great Emperor Wuxia is about to kill him, and the primordial spirit can't be compared with the great Emperor at all. The big black dog showed excitement. The beginning child is bullying me too much. The Daoist undead seemed to hate the great Emperor Wu beginning very much, gritted his teeth, his eyes shot out, and he actually evolved a world in the void, pressing forward. Boom. The ancient picture transformed by the old madman hangs down 10,000 threads, and if you look closely, it turns out to be the chi of chaos, crushing the world where the undead Taoist evolved. Evolution in the free world is indeed the method of the unparalleled powerhouse, but unfortunately he can no longer reproduce his former power, and is about to be wiped out by the conferred god list. Hey dog said. Is that what you said? The undead Taoist snorted coldly, his ancient Taoist robes rattled, he was like a bottomless ancient abyss, swallowing all power. At this moment, he was extremely terrifying, waved out the energy that destroyed the world, stretched out a big hand, grabbed it, and turned the old lunatic into flesh. Even with the protection of the old madman, Li Heishui and Da Hegu couldn't bear it any longer. A wisp of imperial power. The Black Emperor was stunned, unable to speak any longer. Just this kind of chi mechanism would destroy them both physically and mentally. Boom. Suddenly, the conferred gods list on the mountainside shone brightly, rushed out a golden glow and hit the undead Taoist, causing him to fall into a big somersault on the spot. Beginning child. The immortal Taoist stood up and looked at the golden glow in the void, his expression grim, and there was no trace of peace. Boom. The golden rays of light in the sky turned into a big golden hand and pressed it down, knocking the undead Taoist to the ground with a bang. I hate it, comma. The undead Taoist roared, his hands were sealed, and he slammed into the sky. Boom. That big hand doesn't have any. The change only pressed the cover down, and then fanned him, and then patted him in the mountain, and his body was electrocuted. As long as he shows a ray of supreme energy, he will trigger the conferred god list, and he will not be able to turn the tide. The Black Emperor laughed, and at this moment they got rid of that kind of coercion. The supreme being in the undead mountain, shouldn't it be a holy spirit? Yi Fan was surprised. By suppressing him, you can get the other 2 secrets. Li Heishui also became more courageous and shouted. The ancient figure that the old madman turned into slashed forward, and hung down thousands of chaotic silk sashes, destroying the dry and pulling the rot. Smashing everything, there is nothing to resist. The immortal Taoist is a terrifying existence even if he is a ray of primordial spirit, but at this time there is nothing he can do. 9 secrets can never be united, these 2 will be buried with me. His body disappeared in a flash, making time almost freeze, disappearing in place, and submerging into the belly of the mountain. Tic-tac-toe art, we have stepped into the realm of time. Several people's bodies are cold for a while, the other party really has the 9 secrets, it is not a lie. He should be the same as us, who got the script on the holy cliff. If he really has another type, it is very likely that it will be lost. There is no way for a few people, even if they are as powerful as an old madman, it is impossible to go deep into the mountainside to pursue another secret, and no one knows what is going on in the holy cliff. The conferred god list is here, his primordial spirit is buried in Xianyuan, and I am afraid there is also a person who has been wiped out, comma. They all frowned. Unless the ancient emperor is reborn, now who would dare to open the function list and enter the mountainside to get 9 secrets? You must know that most of the opponents are the existences that make the great accomplishment sacrament in his later years hate. 9 secrets. I know the whereabouts of one of the secrets, but unfortunately I can't get it. Yi Fan said to himself. Be content. Do you really want the 9 secrets to become one? It's almost impossible to do such a heaven-defying thing, because some of the secrets have long since disappeared. The big black dog sighed. They walked all the way down the mountain and never encountered any obstacles. Everything went smoothly. 2 hours later, they left the holy cliff. 50 large mountains stand side by side, and the black mountain range formed is not very far-reaching, but it is shocking step by step, and needs a saint to lead the way. In the end, before the sun went down, they came out safe and sound. All breathed a sigh of relief. Woo! On the 6 dead old trees on the edge of the black mountain, a strange bird with a human face and a crow body reappeared, making a cry like a loud cry, making people shriveled. Its lair is made of human bones, and it is frighteningly white and airy, and its color is the opposite of its dark body. Cattle. The old madman tapped his finger, and the strange bird suddenly turned into flying ashes. A wisp of black air overflowed and turned into the appearance of an immortal Taoist. It let out a scream and completely dissipated. It turned out to be formed by a wisp of his chi, and the ear has such a far-reaching effect. No wonder that once you enter this area, you don't know how to die. The old lunatic didn't say anything, looked at Yi Fan and the others, then nodded and walked away without turning his head. So it was a goodbye. Uncle. Xiao Nan Nan reluctantly waved her little hand behind and called softly. Rush. The old lunatic exhibited the 9 secrets of the way, and he took 1 step to reach the end of the sky, and the second step completely disappeared into nothingness. Let's go, let's leave quickly, we shouldn't stay here for a long time. Yi Fan and the others also left the holy cliff before the sunset disappeared. They did not return to the human world, but hid in a primitive mountain range millions of miles away. This time the harvest is very big. Yi Fan wants to go to retreat, first avoid the edge of the world and hell. 2 months later, thousands of meters of thunder and lightning fell from the sky above the original mountain range. It was a sea of thunder, extremely terrifying. Originally, the sky was blue and there wasn't even a single cloud, but thunder suddenly descended. The purple ocean submerged this mountain range, and several large mountains were smashed to pieces on the spot. Damn it, it's okay for this kid to be struck by lightning, let's be unlucky, damn, I almost killed this emperor. A big black dog, as sturdy as a big bull, wearing a big trousers, standing upright, running on 2 legs, swooshing fast, fleeing every day. Dog, hurry up, thunder and lightning will catch up. Xiao Nan Nan sat on its shoulders, very nervous. It's all right, this emperor is using the 9 secrets traveling art, it can't catch up. The big black dog ran away, his fur was a little black, and he was obviously struck by lightning, and at this time he finally escaped from the sea of thunder. Behind him, Li Heishui was indignant and said, damn, this dead dog is really going against the sky, with 2 legs running faster than the original 4. He was covered in black smoke, bared his teeth, and was obviously struck by lightning. He didn't escape as fast as the big black dog, it was more serious, and some places were scorched. While cursing, the big black dog fled on 2 legs, and the 2 big paws on its upper body swayed back and forth like a dog planer. Oh dog, stop scolding, will big brother be in danger? Xiao Nan Nan was very worried. Don't worry, he definitely won't die. People like him have to be struck by lightning from time to time, and it's uncomfortable not to be struck, the big black dog said angrily. Dog, you are too bad. Xiao Nan Nan tugged at the big black dog's ears. It's not that I'm bad, it's that he's too bad. Otherwise, how could he be struck by lightning as soon as he broke through? Don't you go against the sky, dead dog, put me on your back. Li Heishui shouted, and the thunder and lightning from behind were approaching again, chasing after them. It's miserable, won't you really be implicated, let's follow through the calamity together. The big black dog's face turned green all of a sudden, raised his head, stepped on his hind legs, and ran wild again. The crimson thunder and lightning spread down like thousands of Zhong blood orns, and the split Li He water skin chalked up the chalky flesh, and it grew upside down to the sky. Boom! The cyan thunder and lightning, like a real dragon, swept across the sky, and then suddenly fell, slashing the black dog hundreds of feet away, and his body was full of anxiety. Damn it, Heisey, don't follow this emperor, okay, and lead the thunder and lightning to me. The big black dog yelled angrily. Dead dog, didn't you tell me to put my back on my back? I'm not going to follow you. Where are you going? Do you rush into the sea of thunder? Li Heishui was annoyed. The endless sea of thunder chased them down with their buttocks in their pockets. It is conceivable how terrifying the calamity caused by Yi Fan was, and this mountain range was submerged. At first it was just purple thunder and lightning, but now red blood thunder and blue divine thunder have descended, and various colors are constantly flashing. Apart from the 5 chaotic thunder tribulations, there are also colorful gods and thunders. This one won't be chopped into slag. The big black dog muttered as he ran wildly. I don't know if the leaves are slag or not. I only understand that I'm about to turn into ashes. Li Heishui was covered in black smoke and shouted while running. Heisei, don't follow me, let's run separately. The big black dog stared. Damn, except that there is no thunder and lightning in front of you, there are thunders everywhere. How can you run away separately? Or if you flee to the back, how about I flee to the front? Li Heishui gasped. Dog, run away, the thunderbolt is here again. Nan Nan was very nervous, sitting on the shoulder of the big black dog. Her eyebrows were colorful, and the thunderbolt, just now didn't hurt the guy. Here again. Li Heishui shouted. Push forward desperately. Just behind them, endless blood-colored thunder and lightning, like a flood, filled the sky, rushing forward, crushing all the mountains, rivers, ancient trees, etc. This is a veritable sea of thunder. Ouch! The big black dog screamed and was hacked again, and the shiny black chalky hair that had just grown in the past 2 months was burnt a lot. In the rear, Li Heishui even screamed again and again. Every inch of his body was pitch black, a veritable coke, only his teeth were still very white. Damn, why is this emperor so unlucky? He suffered a total of 17 lightning bolts, and it hurts me to death. The big black dog screamed, and his 2 long legs swishly stepped forward. Li Heishui shouted from behind, Dead dog. I have suffered 14 more lightning strikes than you, what is your name? Oh. Another wave of thunder came, and the big black dog howled, covered in lightning. I'm going to die. If I didn't have the secret treasure that my grandfather gave me, I'd be turning to ashes. If Yi was robbed, it would really kill people. Li Heishui screamed. Wow, Heisei, you are not allowed to run with me. You go left and I go right. Damn, you have brought this thunder and lightning, the big black dog yelled. Dead dog, it's none of my business, your dog is too bad, all the thunder and lightning are caused by you. Li Heishui was indignant. No matter how they ran, they were chased and chopped by thunder and lightning, as if they were also saving a calamity, which was terrible. Damn. This emperor knows what's going on. He must have entered the holy cliff and contaminated some unclean things. God is purifying us. The big black dog seemed to think of something. If we continue to purify, we will be finished first. Li Hei had a big head and then shouted, Dead dog, you are going against the sky's Yan Ni, you are running so fast, put me on your back and turn back to me. I'll give you 1,000-year-old elixir. If it weren't for the thunder sea spreading, chasing and intercepting, the big black dog would have already left Li Heishui out of sight, and the 2 long chalky legs really wielded the first Dao map of Xingzishu incisively and vividly. Unless you come up with an immortal medicine, or let this emperor go back and carry you, there is no way. The big black dog bared his teeth. Dead dog, you really have no conscience. You ate so much barbecue from me for nothing, and I gave you the fancy pants you wore. Li Heishui shouted. Damn it, isn't it just a pair of floral pants? I'll give you back a stack. The big black dog swooped and flew, and the big floral pants were extraordinarily bright. Dog, save brother Li. Nan Nan patted the big black dog's ear and said. It's all right, that Heisei has rough skin and thick flesh, and being struck by more lightning will be good for his future practice. The big black dog has 10,000 reasons not to look back. Dead dog, you are really not a thing, so don't blame me. Li Heishui was angry, then shook his hand and threw an iron sword out, turning into a blue light, and shooting in front of him. Boom. Thousands of feet of crimson thunder and lightning was suddenly detonated, chasing the iron sword and slashing down. Wow! The big black dog jumped and jumped, all the fur on its body stood on end, the lightning flashed, and exasperated, shouted, Heisei, you are so wicked. Dead dog, it is said that the first is not righteous. Li Heishui was also struck by lightning and fled with his head in his arms. Wow! The big black dog screamed, "Damn, it's mushy, it's cooked." Nan Nan was a little speechless, seeing the two of them fleeing and pinching, not knowing how to persuade them. The guy is not so scared now, the colorful light dots between the eyebrows block the lightning, and he is not hurt. The big black dog and Li Heishui was struck by lightning, so miserable, one can imagine Yi Fan in the center of the Thunder Sea, and he suffered an unknown number of heavy calamities. The surrounding mountains have all turned into fly ash, none of which can be preserved, everything no longer exists, and a large abyss that is not very deep appears. 5 lines of thunder and lightning, 7 colored divine thunder, one after another, completely destroyed this place. As powerful as Yi Fan's fleshy body, it is also a skin chalky flesh chalky. It's more terrifying than the calamity experienced in the northern divine city. Yi Fan was surprised, this was not breaking the curse, but just breaking through a realm, but suffered such a thunder calamity. Could it have something to do with the holy cliff? Could it be that I'm contaminated with some air? Well, just use this thunder and lightning to baptize. He vaguely thought of this possibility. Boom. 95 days of robbery fell again and again. Yi Fan's fleshy body seemed to be forged in a furnace, golden blood splashed. He gritted his teeth and insisted. After 2 months of seclusion, he has gained a lot, and has cultivated Xingziju to a very high level. The most important thing is that he has broken through to the peak of the 3rd realm of the Four-Pole Secret Realm, and will enter the last realm of this secret realm at any time, and his combat power has improved a lot. After a full hour, Yi Fan finally survived the catastrophe. The primitive mountain range was full of wounds, ashes were everywhere, and many mountains in the distance were broken. Wang! In the distance, there was the sound of a dog barking, and Li Heishui's curse. Yi, you have finally survived the disaster, and we are all unlucky. I have suffered 57 lightning bolts. Li Heishui opened his mouth and sprayed electric flowers from his throat. It's cooked, you have to pay me a magical medicine. The big black dog was covered in fragrant flesh, with a broken sword hanging from his bald tail, his eyes spitting fire, and the electric man's crackling. It pinched Li Heishui for a long time. Look at how promising you two are, Yi Fan scolded. They did not leave, but continued to retreat, wanting to go further, especially Yi Fan had a sense of urgency. The ancient killer god dynasty made it difficult for him to feel at ease. Over the next few months, thunder and the occasional bark were heard in the mountains. They are doing ascetic retreats here. Only Nan Nan alone is carefree, chasing colorful butterflies and picking wild flowers in the mountains. For half a year, Yi Fan has practiced all the secret techniques inherited from the heavenly court. Although it is impossible to reach the ultimate state, it is also the limit of the four-pole cultivator. After the 4 poles, it is necessary to double, and it really is the biggest gain in the life and death confrontation. Yi Fan sighed. He broke through a realm after 2 months of seclusion, but for the next 4 months, he was unable to enter the last realm of the 4 poles secret realm. The reason why he was able to pass the test in the past 2 months has a great relationship with the previous enlightenment. During the battle with Hua Yunfei in the southern regions, when they fought against a single thought blooms and reigns over the world covering the sky. He understands the avenues clearly, and the harvest is huge. When he was in the Central Territory, he fought with King Jinwinged Peng, and he was on the verge of death to realize the first 4 moves of the heaven-shattering demon-slaughtering art. To resolve the deadlock. Breaking the level within 2 months can be said to be the accumulation of the early stage. The accumulation is thin, and it is completed in a pinch, and there is no stagnation. It needs constant enlightenment. Yi Fan's cultivation speed was fast enough, making both the big black dog and Li Heishui feel very evil, but he was not satisfied at all. Half a month later, Yi Fanhua opened his eyes. He felt an unusual energy, leaving an afterimage in the ancient cave, appearing in the mountains where the flowers were blooming. With one hand, he plunged Tancha into the void and pulled out a shadow. This was a dark and indifferent young man, but at this moment he showed a surprised look. The killer of the human world has come here. Li Heishui was shocked. Wang, the big thing is bad. They must have used the magic of heaven to deduce our position. The big black dog ran out, revealing a dignified color. Yi Fan didn't say anything, just put his hand on his heavenly spirit cover, and he was about to extract his divine consciousness memory. However, as soon as his hand approached the opponent's head, the young man's head shattered, and the terrifying energy charged towards Yi Fan wrapped in flesh and blood. The void has been punched out of black holes by these flesh and blood. It is conceivable to imagine what kind of strength it contains, and it can definitely pull the opponent together and destroy it. Boom. However, with a shock of Yifan's golden hand, all flesh and energy were turned into fly ash, and they were all cut off. The holy body quadruple triple peak is really terrifying. Li Heishui was surprised. Not good. Yifan was startled, he felt something keenly, opened the line secretly, turned into a puff of smoke, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Almost instantly, he came to the valley of the back mountain, and happened to see a woman walking towards Nan Nan with a cold smile on her face. "Who are you, sister? Don't come here, I'm afraid." Nan Nan timidly opened her mouth and kept going backwards. "Sister sent you to the ancient hall of hell." The black-clothed woman was covered in icy bones, with an aura of death. Boom. Yifan came from the sky, and the speed was extremely fast. The woman in black appeared. Her eyes were cold, and a blood-dropping divine sword appeared in her hand, slashing towards Nanan's head. However, what she didn't expect was that Yifan passed her imagination, came first, stood in front of Nan Nan, and his big golden hand slashed on the edge of the sword. Yifan's palm was fine, but the blood-stained sword suddenly turned into powder and fell to the ground. The pure gold has been tempered and branded with the power of the law, but it still can't stop Yifan's fleshy blow, and he instantly becomes a powder. The black-clothed woman changed color, turned around and left, wanting to escape, but Yifan's strength has grown so much, a big hand pressed down, pinned her in the air, and grabbed her back. It's going to be a mess. Even the killer of the gods, which is extremely round and full, can raise his hand and suppress it. Even the big black dog gave such an astonishment. Yifan wanted to try to extract the memory in the sea of consciousness, but she also broke down when she found a woman. She couldn't help it, and deep within her eyebrows, there was a forbidden power created by a peerless master. How did the people from the human world and hell find this place? Li Heishui was shocked. They are proficient in the secrets of heaven, and if they invite some old and immortal deductions, they can find the position of their opponents. We have been in retreat for more than half a year, and have not appeared for a long time. They must have invited peerless experts to conduct deductions. These two came to verify. The big black dog said this very bad news. Let's get out of here. Yifan asked the big black dog to engrave the Dao pattern, and then they quickly crossed the void, then opened the domain gate continuously, changed their orientation several times, and appeared a million miles away. That's not the way, it really doesn't work. Yizio leave the East Wasteland. Are they still going to hunt down to Zhengzhou or West Desert? Li Heishui said. It's impossible to force me away like this. Yifan now has some confidence. Having mastered the art of writing, he is enough to protect himself. Now that he can go to heaven and earth, he is not in a hurry to escape, but wants to find the bad luck of the ancient killer of the gods. If you don't leave, you may be killed. Li Heishui reminded, the two ancient killers have issued a killing order to you at the same time, and now you have to ask the peerless master to deduce where you are. This is a big disaster. It's hard to avoid. It's really not good. It must be the living fossils in the ancient palaces deducing where you are. If you don't leave, their seed players will come out and use you as prey to hone themselves. The Black Emperor also warned. Li Heishui said, let the two great gods issue a killing order. Obviously many people have found them and are asking to kill you at the same time. Being able to find the ancient gods must be the oldest inheritance. A must-kill order requires more than 10 people's entrustment. Yifan smiled and said, how many ancient inheritances can Donghuang have? It's good if you know, there must be people from the Holy Land involved, and then there are some supreme teachers. Li Heishui nodded. If that's the case, then don't blame me for being rude. Yifan smiled even more brilliantly and said, hey Huang, you should know how to contact the ancient killer god dynasty. What do you want to do? Don't you want to die, right? Seeing how wicked you are laughing, you must have no good idea. Don't get me involved. The big black dog bared his teeth. I don't have anything to do with you. I plan to give a source to the two great gods. Yifan said with a smile. What the hell are you trying to do? Big Black Dog and Li Heishui were both suspicious. Now, let's give you a chance to hurt others. If you see which holy son is not pleasing to the eye, list them all for me, and I will entrust the two great gods to kill them all. Yifan sneered. Are you crazy? Li Heishui and the Big Black Dog were all taken aback. Being able to invite the ancient killers to come out of the mountain must be those ancient inheritances, and I will drag them all into the water. You want the ancient killers to fight against the holy lands, and you want the sky to be chaotic. The big black dog's eyelids jumped. Li Heishui also sucked in the cold air and said, "This is a ruthless move." If the ancient gods dared to accept the commission of murder, there was no doubt that those holy sons would be in great trouble, and would cause boundless chaos. If they don't pick it up, Yifan will find a way to announce it, so that the invincible myth of the two ancient killers will be shattered. In this way, let each of them kill a holy son first. I think they will definitely pick it up, and then take it slow. If not, I will use the supreme scepter of heaven to help them. There was an indifferent smile on the corner of Fan's mouth. This is too cruel. Yi said that it would lead to a great turmoil in the eastern wilderness. Li Heishui said, but then burst out laughing. This is really an immoral idea. The big black dog also laughed. This video will end here.